And at 7, the Detroit Lions.
How about that? And this is I
Snuck them in there.
I admittedly ranked the Lions 7 myself. I know there were others in here that did the same. It was one of those things I was like looking around like, are y'all gonna laugh at me? But I said this yesterday, like the Lions right now are playing like a top 5 NFC team. You know, the records are important. It might be prohibitive for them. Like they might not get into the playoffs because of what they've done so far this season. But the last 5-6 weeks,
they're setting the table for something real tasty there in Detroit.
Yeah. Good to see the Monday gang back together, guys. Kyle, welcome home.
Thank you. Feels good to be in house again.
Yeah. Guys, how we doing?
We've seen a lot this past weekend, haven't we? Seen a lot. Did a lot. Christmas party last week. I went to a Christmas party. I've never been to like an adult Christmas party.
Yeah.
Kate and I went. Frank Hardy Real Estate. Thanks for putting that on. King Family Vineyards. It was a nice party, though. I understand the allure for Christmas parties.
You don't like the plug of the competitor?
No, I don't.
Just a Christmas party.
Yeah, but that's
free
disrespectful. No matter how you cut it,
it's free wine.
you know.
They cucked you.
Yeah, that's just a disrespectful.
Maybe
comment.
next year you'll throw a Christmas party.
Maybe, but you know what I decided is the people they zap my energy. You know, I'm like a cell phone when you place it on a charger. That's my couch. That's where I recharge.
Yeah.
But the people, no. Talking to people, seeing people.
It's like having one bar and
like a lot
36
of apps
tabs open.
Oh, golly day.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
Which people?
Speaking of charging, want to talk about the Chargers? One of my America's teams.
Wow.
Nicely done.
Good job.
Yeah. Steered us away from the Titanic there. So we
You mean the iceberg?
whatever. Yeah. The iceberg.
Well, you probably don't want to run into the Titanic.
You don't want to run into that either.
Yeah.
Technically.
That'd be a bad scene.
Yeah, really bad.
Damn, that was a big boat we just hit.
Reminds me, Titanic way underwater, right? If I was steer, I'd be in a submarine.
True.
What did I watch
day.
2 weeks ago? I watched Crimson Tide. Have you ever seen Crimson Tide? Probably not. Kyle, have you seen it?
Like Alabama.
Okay, in Crimson Tide, I want you to Google Viggo Mortensen in Crimson Tide, Kyle, and tell me he doesn't look like our dad.
I'm going to do it right now.
Okay.
Mortensen, Crimson Tide.
Yeah. Look him up.
Crimson Tide. Here we go. Wow.
Wow.
He looks exactly like Howie.
He looks like a young Howie Long.
You know what? He found a picture of Dad and said, this is who I'm going to be.
I'm going to be that Raiders pass rusher
I am Howie
who's
Long.
recently starred in Broken Arrow. Dad was on the scene at this point doing Firestorm and stuff. I think he had Vigo shook.
Denzel also in that movie.
Yeah. Denzel was great in that movie. Okay.
Want to talk about a firestorm? Shit. Tua, huh?
Yeah.
3 of 18?
Should we just talk about this game in America's teams?
Sure.
Okay. And before we get going, I want to shout out a buddy of mine who just got out. In all honesty, he was incarcerated for a little bit, and now he's home, so I want to welcome him home. Dan Orlovsky. He was a prisoner of the moment up at Bristol for at least 6 to 8 weeks. He did a long stretch. And now he's come back into Earth's orbit, along with many of you analysts who have joined in the gaslighting and the click farming. You know, I'm convinced that about halfway through this season, people realize that Dolphins fans are an online mob, and they're afraid of them, and they want and I mean, we're all a little afraid of them, dude. I have an alarm system at my house and shit. Like at least 15% of that is for Dolphins fans, but like a lot of people are like, hey, I can get clicks this way, Acho.
Easy peasy. Bright colors.
Yeah. It feels good not to be gaslit, man. It feels good not to be. You know, Dan Orlovsky, and I am a big fan of Dan's. He said last night, like, internet, do your worst. I almost did a fridge talk, personalized. Dan Orlovsky. I haven't done a fridge talk in months. To be honest, I don't like doing them. Feel kind of weird. Guy talking into a fridge. It's fucking
Energy
weird.
inefficient as well.
I really like them.
Energy inefficient. I don't get that many clicks. I'm tired. You know, if it takes like 3-4 takes, it could take a while. But I almost sent one to Dan Orlovsky last night. Here's what you could do on ESPN today. A power rankings of the two quarterbacks. Why don't we do that?
From the game last night.
Power rank the quarterbacks from the game last night.
Justin Herbert.
I got one. I have Justin Herbert.
Okay.
2,
Chase Daniel.
I think they ran Wildcat, one of the teams too, last night. So, but no, here's the deal. I say it every week when Tua comes up, and people were saying like, "Hey, you're qualifying all his wins and this, that, and third." It's December now. These games matter, and Chargers are not a good defense. They were banged up, and they played over their heads last night. I know Tyreek was hurt. I know there were issues there, but this is just you got to be better than that. And I do think Tua is an okay quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback, but I do believe, and one of the reasons that I threw the Chargers in a big parlay money line is because, I do think there's a mental side to Tua's game that he's still working on. It's pretty evident, and when you get pressure on him, he gets the happy feet going back there. He didn't look comfortable last night, and that's 2 weeks in a row. So it's December. You got a short week. Their plane landed fucking 3 hours ago in Miami, dude. It's 10:15 in the morning. They like Tua got back to his apartment 3 hours ago.
He lives in an apartment?
Wherever he lives.
Okay.
He got there 3 hours ago. You got 5 days before you have to go to Buffalo. Like, clock starts now, and it's going to be snowing Saturday night. So this is going to be a monumental game for them, because letting the Chargers back in this thing, I mean, the biggest irony in the world is every Tua fan prayed for this day to get a chance to go square off with Justin Herbert again, Justin Herbert 2.0, and it couldn't have gone any worse, because Justin Herbert was he was efficient, man. Barry McCorkle last night tweeted that, it looks like Miami has an offense that's suited for somebody with Herbert's arm, and the Chargers run an offense that's suited for somebody with Tua's arm, but yet and still, Justin Herbert all last night, whether he was dinking or dunking, whether he was throwing on the run, whether he was rolling right and tossing the ball 50 yards back across his body late in that game, the touchdown throw, the 3rd and 5 on the right sideline early in the game, he is a better quarterback. And I feel like Jim Carrey in The Truman Show, when he's like, bro, this is not real life. Like, you're just walking around like there's something wrong. And then last night, it feels like I found the door, the little door in the ocean.
With the staircase.
Yeah, and Ed Harris is like, no.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Ed Harris is fucking Tuanon. I got to
shut the rain off.
I'm sorry. I got to get out. Y'all are crazy. And it feels good. When Tua said last year, he said, well, he admitted this year. He was like, last year, I was like, do I suck? Like, that's how I felt as an analyst. I was like, am I missing this thing? For the 6 to 8 week period that he was playing Houston and Detroit's defense with Aubrey Pleasant coaching the DBs and so on and so forth. I'm Jim Carrey.
It's not that his performance early in the season hindered our evaluation of it's not like I thought any lesser of him as a quarterback, but it's situations like these, you go head to head with a guy like Justin Herbert. If you want to be the guy, go be the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. When the chips are down a little bit, go be the guy. You still have Mike McDaniel at the helm, coaching this thing up and having the ship go in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you're the quarterback. You got to make big plays.
Yep.
And Justin Herbert did that.
He did that. I thought, if I was to point to specifics in Tua's game, I mean, I didn't think everything was on Tua last night. I'll be pretty fair about that. And you can say the coverage was tighter. Well, guess what? Like, not every week you're going to have 3 yards of separation with your receivers. Yeah. Like, there was a ball to Mike Gesicki over the middle of the field, and Mike's got to go back for it behind his body. And they don't talk about it on the telecast. But it's not just the tight coverage. When the coverage is tight, you need elite ball placement. And I think that's something that, at different times this season has plagued them. When the coverage gets tight, the ball placement is not always perfect. And if you want to be mentioned in the MVP race, if you want to be mentioned as a Patrick Mahomes adjacent quarterback, which is a conversation I cannot believe we've been having, or a Justin Herbert even, because I think Justin Herbert has to earn his way into that tier up there with Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and those guys. I think he's just below them. But if you want to be in that tier, you have to outplay Justin Herbert in primetime against a 26th ranked defense. So we'll check back next week. I haven't said shit. I've been pretty respectful of Tua because I do think at the end of the day, he's a dude, and I got a lot of respect for him. And he's tough, and I've rooted for him, but his fans make it really hard to root for him. So I will take a small victory lap this week. I don't enjoy doing it, but I do enjoy that big parlay cashing, and I appreciate you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And what do you say to the layup of a counterpoint that Tyreek was clearly hobbled?
Okay, win without Tyreek. because every other quarterback in the league is doing it.
That's what the next tier does.
And that's what the next tier does. And Mike Williams and Keenan Allen being on the field at the same time for the first time seemingly all season, like that was great.
That's a Bevel Conway in and of itself.
It was. It's a beautiful sight to see. Yeah. The whole thing, I think if I was to point to one thing, I thought the intentional grounding was big. And that's one area that Tua's got to work on in his game. He's not a big runner. Like, he really isn't. I mean, you see the difference between him and Justin Herbert. Like, forget running for a first down, even running to make a throw off the spot. But, like, in those situations, you can't just chuck the ball in the middle of the field. That intentional grounding killed their drive and set up the 3-point drive that put that game out of reach.
So that's a more impressive intentional grounding than just turfing it.
Yeah.
To find an empty spot 20 yards down the field. Don't give them a loss of down for that. Give them the penalty, but let them get the down back.
No question. And I do want to shout out that kid Davis, who played really well last night. He was all over dudes. And then Nick Neiman saved Joshua Palmer's life on that fucking onside kick, because Palmer, it went was it Ben? He's Nick now.
Nick Neiman is on the Chargers. Ben Neiman was on the Chiefs last year.
Okay, got it.
And they're brothers.
So I'm right.
It is Nick Neiman.
Nick Neiman.
Oh,
Boy,
nice.
I'm taking victory laps left and right this morning. I'm beating Tuanon. I'm beating Macon with the names, dude. This is a rare occasion. But the Dolphins, again, short week. Jalen Phillips, I want to mention this, has turned into a hell of a player. I was wrong about a Miami Dolphin. Jalen Phillips. I didn't think when he was at Miami, he didn't look this athletic. He didn't look this big, fast, strong, and athletic.
Yep.
It did not translate the way it's translating into his pro game. His pro game I love his game, dude. The effort he plays with, I'm glad they pointed out his motor. He got fucking jobbed on that roughing the passer. Thank God that drive didn't extend, because we'd be saying that's why they lost the game.
But I mean, it did by a couple minutes in 25 yards or so.
Yeah.
That call was
atrocious.
I think it might.
Yeah.
Body weight. I mean, it
was atrocious.
And it was a couple hours after you saw Mike White almost be broken in half multiple times.
Man,
No question.
Matt Milano, the meat
No question.
missile.
No question. I want to mention that. Let's talk about these playoff scenarios with the Dolphins and the Chargers and that area of the AFC. The Jags are in it too. I just want to say this, like, we're not going to go too deep into the Jags game, but Trevor Lawrence looked great yesterday. Trevor Lawrence is putting together more good games than he is bad games right now. And
he's taking care of the football really well, and he's becoming more confident in that system with Doug Peterson. I think that they're continuing to gel. We were thinking that off Jump Street they were going to be great.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of time with them, but we don't know who the Jags are, because their ceiling is high, but their floor is also low.
I think with the Jags, they're going to be fun to watch next year.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence with another year under his belt under Doug Peterson, because he obviously
edge rushers.
He obviously is how. And here's the thing about Trevor Lawrence. One thing Doug took advantage of with Carson is Carson, especially before he got hurt, was a really good off-spot thrower. Like he would make throws on the run. Like he was athletic. That was his game. Trevor Lawrence can make throws off the spot really well.
Yeah.
And I love that about him. And now in the NFL, we evaluate quarterbacks based upon not just what they do with the clean pocket, but what they do, the things that Justin Herbert was doing last night.
Creative ability, athletic prowess. It's like it really shines. Like your strengths shine. And Trevor Lawrence is a big, strong dude.
Big, strong dude. He'll be throwing on the run. His torso will kind of swivel. That's like he's got like one of those swiveling quarterback torsos where it's like, I'm running this way, but I can turn back this way and rifle the ball. Like some guys, when they're about to run out of bounds, they can't dream of completing a ball running full speed. Like he's got that ability. So, and another thing for him, he's resilient, because you spend a year with Urban Meyer. I wouldn't guess you'd rebound mentally, but he's done a nice job. So I just want to shout him out.
Career high, 368 yards. He was 9 of 13 for 154 and 2 touchdowns on passes of 10-plus air yards against Tennessee.
Things look good there. They're in it. Matt Nackey, give us the...
Yeah, they're on the outside looking in. But
you got to roll your sleeves up like Jim.
Steve
Kornacki.
Yeah.
538 gives them a 14% chance of making the playoffs.
Yes.
But big game against Dallas at home this weekend.
That's a big jump. If they beat Dallas, their chances jump to 32%.
Yeah, a lot of it's contingent on what the Chargers do.
Well, no shit.
Well, let's say the Chargers come back down to earth and lose to a bad Tampa Bay team.
They can't. Chargers, Jets, and Pats. They're not going to get past all three of those. Jags are not making the playoffs.
No, Jags are probably not going to make the playoffs, but we are saying there's a chance.
And they're fun to watch. It's an early investment.
And the Chargers, I can't see what that number is, but the Chargers
Got them at 59% right now.
Wow. I thought they were dead in the water. I really did. I mean, like the way – and Brandon Staley, who we've been critical of, did a hell of a job last night. He got that defense to play well.
Yep.
And so –
without Derwin James and Sebastian Joseph Day.
That's another thing. All those guys are hurt. I mean, like when they were the camera was panning to the stadium and showing the people that were out, I was like, it might be a long night. But Brandon Staley had those guys ready to play. And you know what they did well? They played up. They pressed on early downs. They didn't press all the time, but they took away some space and they played tight. They weren't afraid of those guys on first, second down, where Tua gets in a rhythm. And early in the game, that allowed them to go 3 and out some, which they're not accustomed to. And him sitting on the sideline is not the way you want to be. Like he's a rhythm thrower. So
the Chargers next 4, they have the Titans, who are in a downward trend coming off the loss.
Yep.
The Jaguars, the Colts, Rams, and Broncos.
Okay.
So
that's running the table.
Yeah.
Right, they're in the playoffs right now. If the Pats win Monday night, the Pats jump into that 7th spot moment for the moment.
Yep.
Okay, so let's finish America's teams. We just briefly updated you on the mushroom cloud created by last night's action. So, me. Morocco.
Yes.
The Morocco soccer team, they play France. I don't know, Lloyd. The French are assholes. Morocco has all the intangibles.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're just one of these teams. Like, oh, fuck, Morocco. Who could be mad at Morocco?
First African country in the Final Four, is that right?
That is correct.
Morocco sounds like an amazing place.
Yep.
You know
Shout out to my friend Sophie.
Morocco.
It's Moroccan.
All the scenes in movies where there's like a red castle with like big red rocks behind it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Red rocks.
All those are in Morocco. Like,
Yeah.
All those movie scenes.
All the beautiful scenes.
Yeah. I got a
Yeah, and it's a beautiful game, and it's going to be even more beautiful. When do they beat France?
Wednesday, I think.
Okay, I can't wait. Mark it on my calendar. Okay, Eagles, they keep rolling. Me and Bo were at the Army-Navy game. We were hammered. We called our security guy Dom because we wanted to say hi to him. And he put us on FaceTime with Nick Sirianni on the bus. It was like 2 p.m. He was like, "What's up, Chris?" I was like, "All right, yeah, the coolest coach ever." Nick Sirianni, America's
cool as
coach.
fuck.
He's cool as shit. Eagles, keep rolling. We'll get to that game in a second. Army and Navy. Army and Navy.
I love that.
America's teams. I was there.
The armed forces.
I went and supported the troops. Who cares that Bo wanted to leave in overtime? He's anti-American.
What?
Yeah, I need
He
to
was
put him
leaving
on
a lot of soldiers
some sort
behind.
of terrorist watch list.
Yeah.
Had me on the SEPTA watching the game.
Not to mention the over was in the balance.
Well, as soon as overtime hit, the over was hitting. You know, so luckily we teased the Black Knights with the over, with the under as well, and that number was 38, and the exact thing that had to happen in overtime did. So tease God prevailed. Yep. Fans are really fucking impressive, man. You know, like all those years I was playing. Now that I get to do tailgating and like do this stuff, like these people are weekend warriors.
Thank you.
Because I'm tired as fuck. Yeah. I'm tired as fuck from my week, and I'm a podcaster. Like some of these people are working construction. They're out there at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
They're tailgating. Then they know where to find their seats and shit.
Not always.
Okay, so
That Super Bowl in Houston.
you
I
had
went to the
trouble.
wrong seat for three quarters.
I was with my buddy Jason Van Camp. Shout out to Warrior Rising. Green Beret, you know, these Green Berets are some of the smartest, most macho, most like, they're just figure it out guys, right? So me, Bo, and Jason Van Camp, 2 former NFL players who played in this stadium, and one guy who could probably like defuse a bomb. And it took us 10 minutes of game time to find our seats. We walked around the stadium twice at the link. So like
The cavalry never arrived.
the cavalry never arrived. You know, there was green smoke and we weren't there.
Can't get in.
Yeah. So shout out to Army and Navy. That was fun. That was really, really, I'll talk about it more with Bo tomorrow morning on the Monday Night Football review. Who plays Monday night? I hope it's actually a good game.
Pat's cards.
Oh, fuck yeah, it's good. It's going to be fun. At least entertaining. We might get Kyler Murray yelling at somebody on the sideline. That's my America's team.
Mac Jones might yell at somebody on the sideline.
I hope. That was good. I like that.
Our running game fucking sucks.
Didn't you like that?
I do. I like Mac Jones.
Mac Jones went up in my book after that.
Mac Jones is like, we are understaffed. We need help.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Tom Brady.
Okay, speaking of that NFC South, my first America's team is Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
Talk about a team who actually has a shot at making the playoffs. It's the Carolina Panthers. That defense is talented and fun. J.C. Horn, Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, Shaq Thompson.
They're per real. Go on.
Really good.
Go on.
They're playing hard for Steve Wilkes. They go out to Seattle. Everybody's kind of aware of the stinky line, and it was stinky for good reason.
But here's the thing, and maybe I'm not understanding this. Stinky means like there's something we don't know.
We should talk about this, yeah,
right? Because
right.
I said to Steve was like, this line stinks. I'm like, no, it's exactly what you think it should be. Like the Seahawks aren't that good, and
Defense
the Panthers
is bad.
have been playing well, and Sam Darnold last week made nice
And
throws.
Seahawks got some injuries on the offensive
Yeah.
side, too.
It was weird. Carolina bettors felt confident with Sam trotting out there with Chuba and Dante and LaVisca and Terrace. Guy's name's Terrace. Wild name. Carolina Panthers and Sir Purr, one of my America's teams. The University of Virginia, all right? Now, this might lose a little bit of luster in 2 hours if the Who's are not ranked number one in the country, but they're the odds-on favorites to be ranked number one after Houston and Texas
What sport?
lose last week. Men's basketball.
Got it.
Men's college basketball.
Purdue could cuck us, but I think you're right.
Purdue or UConn could jump ahead of Virginia, but it's 20 years since the game of the decade. Ralph Sampson, Patrick Ewing, great writer Andrew Ramspacker had a great piece on
20
that game
years?
this week. 40 years. 40
Okay.
years since the game of the decade. Sampson and Ewing. And Houston's coming to town, which would have been number one. It would have been the 18th time in college basketball history that 1 and 2 played on a college campus. That would have been dope, but Houston couldn't get it done against
Good.
Alabama.
Drive the ticket sales down or prices because I'm gonna try to get in that thing.
Houston will be in the 5 to 10 range, and,
Yeah.
and Virginia could be number one for the 18th time in school history. And
Getting old.
hey, our guy Keyshawn Davis
Yeah.
had a big win over the weekend. He won via 8-round unanimous decision,
Kid's awesome.
soundly defeating 3-time world title challenger Juan Carlos Burgos. He's a Norfolk guy,
Yep.
and he put the V Sabres on the trunks
Yep.
with the numbers of the 3 guys who lost their lives last month, which was a very nice tribute.
I
by
love that,
Keyshawn.
man.
Yeah,
We
it
met
was
him
cool.
in Vegas. You've heard that probably.
Yep.
You hung out at the studio at Blue Wire for a while. He was the nicest kid in the world. Talked to his trainers for a while. Virginia kid.
New York Jets, my third America's team. I don't care a lick about them. No offense, Scott, but I root hard for these cats.
Yeah.
And they battle.
Yeah.
White Mike got blasted yesterday and just kept coming back. Zonovan Knight is now the lead back. Zonovan's not even a name.
Bam.
Right, Bam Knight. Zonovan Bam Knight. Some rookie of the year buzz for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
I want them to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Saleh gets into the post game press conference and is saying all the things you want to hear.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
At what cost? The Lions, they play the Lions this week. It's like going to be, it's like when they say, who's your favorite kid? It's like,
I just hope they're healthy at the end of the
I'm basically dad this weekend. Like, everybody wants the Jets to win. Everybody wants the Lions to win. If you don't want those two teams to win, there's something wrong with
I
you.
just hope they play hard.
Yeah, I just hope they both play hard. I hope they tie.
My fourth America's team is Justin Herbert. We've covered it.
Yes.
He was electric. 39 and 51, 367 and a touchdown. And rounding out the group, the New Orleans Pelicans, winners of 7 in a row. They're first in the West. They just won 2 in a row against the Phoenix Suns. Let me talk to you about this team. It's Zion Williamson. It's C.J. McCollum. It's Trey Murphy. It's Herb Jones. It's Jonas Valanciunas. It's your boy Larry Nance.
Yes.
A quiet 10-6 on the season.
Yes.
First in the West.
Yeah.
You know who's two?
Would the
Memphis.
Pelicans been in your power rankings if or America's teams if Zion hadn't done that windmill dunk at the end of the game?
Yeah, they would have. They nearly missed it because of that showboating maneuver by Zion. But hey, look, we're America. We showboat.
I saw an incredible basketball play. I figured you probably did. Lord knows I don't watch a lot of it. The alley-oop to win the game. You didn't see it. You got to get a league pass. Somebody caught an alley-oop to win the game from an inbound play. Not like over by
love
the
that.
over
Like a
over
set
by the
play.
bench. Over by the bench.
Set
There's no
piece.
time. It's set piece.
Yeah, you got to have good end of clock set pieces. That's awesome.
This is a fun little NBA season that we will tap into in about 6 weeks or
for
so.
now, I have no idea, dude.
Cavs, Cleveland's third in the East. It's a fun little season.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, hey, the West, Memphis, and New Orleans.
Yeah.
Get a map.
1-2. That's true. Good point. What's next? Detroit?
I'm glad you mentioned Detroit because
Yeah.
they're the number one team on my America.
The huge omission by us.
I mean, how can you not put the Lions on your list? It's almost,
Say it again. Say it out loud.
It's almost un-American.
Say it out loud.
I
omit
don't
them.
I don't like them.
Okay, this is such a you thing.
Is it because you love them?
No. I appreciate them. I respect them. I just don't like them. I think it's the indoor.
I kind of agree with the guy from Kansas City. This segment sucks.
If Detroit wasn't in existence, I wouldn't have made it to work today because I drove a Ford. Okay.
Oh, that's true.
Wow.
I also would be when downtrodden in life, I would just stay down in the dumps. But a guy like Dan Campbell, he can really
your
motivate you
spirits.
to pick yourself up.
Hey, you got a Chevy in your garage too. Do you have the
No, I
do you have the pissing on the other logo stickers?
Hold on. Let me
Okay.
finish here, Macon. Let me finish here. Okay. So the redemption arc, you've been exiled to Detroit. You're Jared Goff. What are you going to do? You just get to ball the fuck out all year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And erase any doubt about who the quarterback is in Detroit moving forward. I love that. Number one, America's team, Detroit Lions. Number two, the University of Southern California, Trojans. And we talked about their horse, Traveller, whichever one it is. He's been canceled, but who's not
Confederate
canceled?
horse.
Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, he was in studio with us at the pregame show yesterday at CBS Sports Network. Couldn't have been a cooler guy, nicer guy.
Tall?
He brought he was surprisingly tall.
guy.
He brought his entire O-line.
He'll be the first to tell you.
Anybody who took snaps this year at O-line was with their Heisman winner in New York City, which I thought was awesome. He could be the next Archie Griffin.
Who paid for those flights to New York?
He did.
Caleb did.
He's got his own foundation already.
Oh, good.
Like, this guy's ahead of the curve.
Caleb, come on the show.
You know what I mean? Caleb Williams,
I know
cool
you're
guy.
listening.
Number 3, Argentina. They're in South America. Messi, he's an American. I'm going to put him on the list.
He's an American?
Yeah.
South American.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll claim him.
got us
We're the
there.
best.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of looks like a guy from Ohio.
So they beat the Netherlands. Apparently, there's a guy in Argentina named Angel Di Maria who I thought was an umpire until I did some more research. Turns out he's a player and hates the coach from the
Angel
Netherlands.
Hernandez?
Louis Van Gaal, who is the coach, doesn't like Angel Di Maria. There's beef there. In the game, Argentina beat Netherlands. Messi was talking shit to the coach.
Yeah.
He kind of big brothered the situation.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, that boy looks like Stonehenge, doesn't he?
Messi,
No, the coach.
they all kind of have
Doesn't he look like you just
They all look ancient.
put a suit on Stonehenge?
ancient looking
No, it's
faces.
just the shape of his side pro. Look at
Here you
this
go,
guy.
Dutch soccer coach.
He's got a
Yes.
Stonehenge. Show a side pro.
Looks
He's
ancient.
fucking guy's.
Yeah.
Look at. It's just the neck and the head's all one thing.
There must be something wrong there. I feel bad about even mentioning his name now.
Stonehenge.
Number
looking ass
4. You guys been getting a lot of Christmas gifts shipped into the house. You got to wrap some
Not
stuff
yet.
up. You
Not
get a
yet.
lot of cardboard boxes. You know who has to deal with all those cardboard boxes?
boy. The landfill.
The recyclers of America.
mhm.
America's team.
Yeah, that's good.
You know
Kyle.
what? Because there's a lot of trash. We're always like, when the fuck is the trash getting picked up? Blah, blah, blah. We got no room. Number 5, I was going to put the Panthers, but you put the Panthers. So I'm going to put the Cincinnati Bengals because you go and watch this game, and what's more American than a fireworks show? And I just love the Bengals.
Yes.
They've got their pieces intact. Obviously, T. Higgins goes out. Boyd goes out. But Jamar Chase, it's 31 flavors of Jamar Chase. You know, everybody likes ice cream. Everybody likes Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah,
And Joe Burrow's the man. He's presidential.
he is presidential.
That's number 5.
It's perfect. Leads us into our power rankings.
Number 1. This is the consensus power rankings of all the voters here in the room. Philadelphia Eagles, number 1. Kansas City Chiefs, number 2. We have a tie at number 3. The San Francisco 49ers, led
Wow.
by Brock Purdy,
Stubborn bunch.
and the Buffalo Bills. At 5, the Cincinnati Bengals, your 5th America's team. At 6, the Dallas Cowboys. And at 7, the Detroit Lions.
How about that? And this is I
Snuck 'em in there.
I admittedly ranked the Lions 7 myself. I know there were others in here that did the same. It
I
was
did
one of
as
those things
well.
I was like looking around like, are y'all gonna laugh at me? But I said this yesterday, like the Lions right now are playing like a top 5 NFC team. You know, the records are important. It might be prohibitive for them. Like, they might not get into the playoffs because of what they've done so far this season. But the last 5-6 weeks,
They're setting the table for something real tasty there in Detroit.
yeah. And listen, Jared Goff, who said, I'm playing the best ball of my pro career. I think it's great. Like, you talked about a redemption arc. I don't think McVay liked him.
There was something there.
I don't think McVay liked him. Like, I think McVay constantly looked at him like, I can do better. And it was like every day he walked in the building, he was like, this guy, like, I'm brilliant. I'm Sean McVay. And he is. But what we also assumed was that Sean McVay's the only guy who can get something out of a quarterback like Jared Goff. Just because you are a good offensive coach doesn't mean you're the only one.
Yeah.
They're all over the league. And newsflash, most quarterbacks are improved by the scheme they're in if they're good, and they're improved by the pieces around them, and they're improved by the coach that they have in the building. I think a lot of times we discount the confidence, the shot in the arm of like feeling empowered that a really good coach can give you. And Ben Johnson, who's probably the most famous Ben Johnson,
And we love saying that name.
didn't take long. Pretty weird for a guy named Ben Johnson, but that guy might be a head coach soon. And a lot of it is because of the work that he's done with Jared Goff. Jared Goff made some really nice throws yesterday.
There's an American film actor named Ben Johnson, Francis
makes sense.
Benjamin Johnson,
Right.
world champion rodeo cowboy.
No, the most famous Ben Johnson is the sprinter that got got in the steroid trouble. He won the
Not so
100-meter
fast.
dash in like
Liver
88, I
King.
think.
Yeah. Is his name Ben Johnson?
No, but he's on steroids too.
Benjamin Sinclair Johnson.
You want to knock the Lions out before this game out before we get into the rest of the games? Or okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, say it.
The Lions have lost to 12-win Philly, 10-win Minnesota, and 10-win Buffalo. That's 32 total wins by a total of 10 points.
Yeah.
That's extremely impressive.
We looked at the first game of the season as like, okay, a lot of garbage time yardage for the Lions. We looked at it like Miami. Hey, Miami. I looked at it like Miami's defense isn't real good and the Lions' offense is pretty good, whatever. They couldn't put it together defensively at that point in the season. But since Deadspin, our friends at Deadspin, Kyle.
Club Dub.
Fucking dick pic tabloid publication. They also moonlight as like we're going to try to get coaches fired like 5 games into the season. They wrote an article about Dan Campbell. Since that point, Reed, they've been on fire. Deadspin
5-1.
Yeah,
Dan Campbell reads Deadspin.
no, but I just think like you put that out in the universe and you attack probably one of the nicest men in the NFL because you don't like the fact that he said he wanted to bite somebody's knees, and he looks like he might be the type of guy you hate.
He's been profiled.
He's been profiled. My man is
We can say it.
He's a thinking man. He what?
Okay.
Yeah, you don't like him.
Well, no. I love him.
Yeah, this is good. This
really
would be good
nice,
TV.
good guy.
It's good TV.
Really nice, good guy. Some of the decisions he's making are questionable.
Okay.
at
Andy
best.
Reid has made questionable decisions his whole career, but it's not what defines his
Go
career.
ahead.
What defines his career is the ability to lead men, and Dan Campbell can do that.
Hey, that's a good point. I think he makes it tougher on the team by some of these decisions, going for it on 4th down, deep in their own territory, even kicking that field goal, that 49, 50-yard field goal to go up 11, which went in and sealed the game. But a miss there lets Minnesota right
Had
back
the
in it.
decision been the wrong one,
But the decision prior to that is throw it
I
to
think
our
it was the
offensive
wrong decision.
tackle.
Had the decision been the
I
wrong
think the
one.
wrong decision worked out for Dan
How about
Campbell.
that fake punt decision? That was a balls in the
That was
wind.
good. That was
Fake punt.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know what? You'd be.
Throw to your tackle
Brian
in
O'Connor.
a
There was a
game deciding situation. You know what I mean?
There was a point where out of the half, I think Minnesota passed up the opportunity to go for it. They punt on 4th and short, and they give it to Dan Campbell, who makes the wrong decision and runs a fake punt for a bunch of yards and gives his team a shot in the arm. Not a lot of wrong decisions. You get that lucky. So I mean, like maybe he's just lucky.
He's living right.
Yeah. So I think Jamison Williams getting on the field's awesome, even though it's just a busted coverage. Like it's
Just a heavy play action, baby.
it's a thing of beauty to see him on the field. The first reception he has is a touchdown. Detroit, man, their offense is rolling, and I wonder, Macon, if you think Goff is the answer.
I do.
Okay.
As do I.
Miller Lite mentioned game ball to Jared Goff, 27 to 39, 330, and 3 touchdowns. Yeah, why not? You're gonna have a top 5 pick, courtesy of who? LA, I reckon.
The Rams.
Yep.
top 5 pick, another first. Yeah, I wouldn't go quarterback with either of those picks.
Yeah, you know what? I think
Mayer.
sometimes we outthink ourselves. The only thing that worries me is like, hey, the departure of a really good coordinator. People like Josh Allen figure it out within a year. I mean, like he had a little slump. I don't know if that had anything to do with the transition with Ken Dorsey. I think it had more to do with just his decision making. But like, I worry about, hey, we stick with Jared Goff, Ben leaves, that sort of thing. Other than that, though,
That's my only concern.
you're running one of the best offenses in the league. You traded away a tight end that was supposed to be a centerpiece. You're probably going to parlay that into Michael Mayer or something like that. You have picks, you have capital, you have a great slot guy, you have a guy that just came off IR, just caught his first pass for a touchdown. You got a good offensive line, good running backs. You got Penei Sewell, who legitimately looks like a big wide receiver. Somebody was like, go watch that play because I had run in the other room, and I figured it was maybe like a high tackle over eligible play where you screen out and you bleed him in the flat. Bro, he went in motion.
Yeah, it was Trent Williams.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
And I remember
bad decision, but
when he was
worked out.
Yeah, but it's the ultimate faith in your guys. Like, you want to prove me right? Go prove me right. I'll put you in positions to do this. And there's nothing more of a dream scenario than going in motion as an offensive lineman and running right through. And Reed and I were talking about this play prior to. It was like, he went and blocked the guy on his way out. Well, I was explaining to him, if he tries to avoid that defender, that's when the stinky line that you were talking about comes out with Stanford Steve. It's like, this line stinks. And what I mean by that is, if you're avoiding a defender, you're trying to get open. If you're trying to block a guy, they're going to try to get off.
Yeah.
So Penei Sewell, a crafty play there. I
get it. At first, you had me in the first half. I was like, what is he talking about?
Because I see it in my head.
But then in the second half, it made perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean,
You're not a gambler. You're a football player, and you're like, this line stinks. Like, there's no what is he doing here? Why is he doing this?
It just felt weird because we've seen plays where we try to get offensive linemen out ahead of the gang. Cincinnati had a big toss to Joe Mixon, and Lael Collins led block. You could have the same action there with Lael Collins in motion, or with Penei Sewell in motion, but he ends up being the receiver, makes a huge catch. And that's actually my viewing party. I'm going to give my viewing party to the guys on the sideline right there when Penei Sewell caught it.
They know
he's going to get the ball.
Hey, what's the play here?
They see him get open. Yeah. Oh, my God, he's moving so fucking fast. And honestly, the only comp I can make is Trent Williams, the only guy that moves in space like that.
That was unbelievable.
It was freakish.
Bro. Did you often ask, what's the play?
Yeah. Yeah, you
what do we
try to do it all like.
What do we got here? What we got?
Like NBA players after games are like, how you doing, dog? Yeah. Like, I'm like, hey, what's the play?
Cover in your mouth.
Yeah. But no, I'm not saying they're a great team, but when you look at it, when we were doing the power rankings, like, who are the teams that should be ahead of them? I can't say the Dolphins after last night. I don't know if I can say the Chargers for sure. They're so inconsistent. The Lions, by virtue of the huge fucking ledge that exists after 6 or 7 now. A couple weeks ago, we had 10, 12 teams we were arguing over. Now things are tightening.
Also receiving votes were Baltimore and Miami.
And Baltimore, they're without a quarterback, so it's hard for me to give them a vote, like in the top 7 in the power.
They didn't know how to win with a quarterback. They don't know how to finish with a quarterback.
Well, they got J.K. Dobbins back. I mean, we've talked about that game.
Perfect.
Love it.
One thing about Detroit, they're scoring 32 points a game at home, which is a huge number. Only 18 on the road. That's the biggest discrepancy in the league. 18 points on the road is good for 25th in the NFL.
I would imagine there's something very homely about playing at Ford Field and being in the 70-degree room. And when you go on the road, everything changes. It's a strange place to play in Detroit.
Climate control.
It's a really tough place to play. And we were talking about what kind of stuff they were going to do. They might as well go get some dominant rushers. Go get an inside rusher.
Oh, Kyle, I got to say this. Aiden Hutchinson had his best game yesterday.
Yes, go get another guy.
His best game.
Go get another guy with Aiden Hutchinson and then make it a feared front, like when Sue and Fairley and those guys are there, but on the edge.
He's doing a lot of things well. You know how I was like, oh, man, I'm worried he's never going to be like, he's not Von Miller. But what he can do is, hey, they rush him inside. He has a really good feel for when to counter back. He won edge rushes on both sides last night. He's dropped into coverage well. He's doing a lot of little things well that maybe if you're not watching the game, you might not see him. The 2 sacks are great, but there's so many little things he's doing well. He's a really good football player, which I think sometimes gets lost if a guy's not like a wow guy. He's a really good football player, and he might have double digits this year. He'll be your defensive rookie of the year. Well, Sauce Gardner is the other one, and he's kind of been Sauce Gardner's probably going to win defensive rookie of the year. But, he wasn't even a top 3 kind of candidate for an award like that early in the season, and now he's kind of played his way into being, hey, I feel good about it. What is he now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Little
dude.
mock draft. Will Anderson to Detroit at 4.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They should get that kid from Georgia,
Jalen Carter.
the big number 88.
Yeah.
Fucking
just
get
have
him.
Pick some guys up.
Just get him.
All right, the Vikings, we haven't really talked about the Vikings, but the Vikings left points on the field here. They had the pop pass, the Dalvin Cook, that fumble, and then there was a big Hawkinson drop on the 39-yard line.
Hawkinson.
That would have been 3 points, so, you're talking about 10 points there. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, and they've won a lot of close ball games. This game was close for most of it, but the Lions were in control at the same time, so their luck kind of runs out there. Minnesota, they are who we thought they were, a top 10 team, but fringy power ranked.
So both of these teams have pretty relatively easy Final Four games. The Vikings have the Colts, Giants, Packers, Bears, and then the Lions go Jets, Panthers, Bears, Packers. The Vikings need the Lions just to lose one to claim the division. But do you think could the Lions go 4-0, the Vikings go 0-4, and the Lions take this division? This seems like a long shot.
No, there's not going to be an 0-4 in there based on those teams. You said Packers, Giants, Bears. Who else?
Packers, Giants, Bears, and Colts.
They could lose any of those games, but they're not going to lose all four.
No.
Because time has proved out that they do win a lot of close games, and I respect them for that. And, a lot of it for them is going to be where they seeded in the playoffs. Are they going to get a home game? That play's tough to play. Are they going to have to – Kirk Cousins going to have to go on the road? Like, we're getting into looking at who the matchups are going to be and, like, who's going to get to play the Bucs. Okay, the Cowboys are a team. Let's talk about the Cowboys and the Eagles since we're on the NFC right now. The way I look at it is these two teams have had respectively sloppy games the last 2 weeks, the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Eagles won their game 35-10 or 38-10 or whatever it was. Cowboys
almost lost
in a fucking dogfight with the Texans. And I'm not saying this alone proves that
Davis Mills
that the Eagles are better than the Cowboys, but the difference between the Eagles and the Cowboys is that quarterback. And I mean that with no disrespect to Dak, because I really like Dak, but Jalen Hurts yesterday in a game where Patrick Mahomes, maybe one of my viewing parties is Patrick Mahomes sitting in the training room with the game on, getting his ankle taped or whatever it is, and he's watching Jalen Hurts go ham again, and he's not doing too much. That's the thing about him. He's throwing for 200-something yards, keeping the stat sheet clean on the turnover end of things. He's running the football. He's distributing the football, but he's not making mistakes. And that offense is converting on third down. They're making spectacular plays. They're staying aggressive in that game. And I'm Patrick Mahomes. I'm saying I got to come out in the 4 p.m. I guess, and I got to ball out to be in the driver's seat for this thing. I think Jalen Hurts put himself in the driver's seat for the MVP over the last 2 weeks. I really do. These have been impressive weeks, and they're the difference. The way that he plays relative to the way Dak played. Dak yesterday wasn't great. Okay, like. Sticking to that game for a second, I mean, he was a little bit off, like early. He missed Gallup for a touchdown. Little things like if you're a Cowboys fan, you know what I'm talking about. There's a throw to Pollard where Pollard's streaking in the flat. He's 5 yards down the field, and he hits him, but he's low. So, like, it's 3rd and 10, and with Pollard's speed, he probably picks up another 5 yards, and that's a first down. It's little things like that. It's missing Gallup on the first drive. There were some picks in this game. Obviously, the pick at the end of the game. But the game-winning drive for Dak, to give him credit, a win is a win. And they go down and they get that win. They actually got away with a false start. If you watch that game, you know what I'm talking about. On first down there in the red zone before they scored to take the lead and win the game, they get away with a false start. The big question is going to be for Houston, should they have gone for it, up 3 late in that game? Are you familiar with this situation? I was wondering what you thought. What do you think? Do you think they should go for that and try to put them away and get up 10?
I think so, just because you're 1-10-1. But
I do too.
Whatever the play ended up being, I wouldn't have gone with that.
No, and here's the thing.
From the 3.
Hollow Man, Jeff Driscoll, running the wrong way on a fucking speed option with the game on the line. Yep. And a big tip of the cap to DeMarcus Lawrence on third down, who makes a big play. But, Driscoll could not get his big ass in the end zone, so to speak. You know, Kyle, have you seen Jeff Driscoll's ass?
Large.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Can we pull it up? Can we pull up a picture of Jeff Driscoll's ass?
You see, I sent you a picture of Jimmy G's ass this week.
No, I'm not interested.
Well, you're not interested.
Look at Jeff Driscoll.
That's fake.
Wow.
Bro, it looks photoshopped.
Just back into the end zone.
The guy, they got.
What a dumper.
Yeah, he's got to take the. You know how everybody sits side by side on the plane, and the armrest, you can pull them up. He's got to sit. You need two seats.
Does Driscoll have any relatives?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that it goes out so much. It's like back. Like he's got like a. He's sitting on a
want to
cushion.
see for research purposes.
There's a YouTube guy who's got a fake butt that he puts on, and he runs around and does all this funny shit.
Skateboarding tricks.
Yeah, he's essentially just dressed up like Jeff Driscoll. Okay, we've talked about Jeff Driscoll's ass, his dumper, for a minute. Let's talk about the decision to go up 10, dude. I thought that was the right decision. You know, devil's advocate, Houston fans, if there are Houston fans that are concerned with winning games right now, they might say, hey, they had the ball, at the midfield with, under a minute to go, and they have a chance to kick the ball. They'd be up 1 and not down, or they'd be down 1, not down 4 or whatever it was. I think you still try to win that game. Pierce is a fucking load as you went back and watched through that game, man. Like, there were times where Van Der Esch stood him up, and then there'd be 4 reinforcements that would come, and they blow the whistle 7 times, and Pierce comes out of the pile. He's still standing up. He targeted Hooker. You know, the Hooker guy for bro, like he I know you want to laugh, but we keep it. He put his head down and like drilled him in the side of the head. Like, Dameon Pierce is dangerous running the football. He's going to be fun for years to come. I hope they don't burn him out there. And I want to shout out, I don't know how to say that, a Crackwell?
Crackwell.
How do you say that guy's name, Reed, for the Texans? He had a huge sack late in the game on Dak Prescott. He had a forced fumble that preceded the pick. Okoronkwo. And that's the thing. People don't know these guys. Petrie played well.
Jalen Petrie.
He played really well. He was hitting. He had a huge PBU late in that game. So Texans for the second week in a row. I know I'm taking up airtime, valuable airtime, talking about the Texans, but they should be commended for how hard that defense is playing. What they shouldn't be commended for is this fucking quarterback rotating system.
Yeah.
Keep Davis Mills in.
Just like maybe keep Jeff Driscoll in. Other than the speed option, Amari Rodgers.
Big neck. That's
that
all
connection, yeah. If you put Davis Mills' neck with Jeff Driscoll's ass,
you can't lose.
Superhuman.
2 quarterbacks.
You got 2 quarterbacks, and that's what Lovie Smith knows. That's why he's playing both of them.
Hey, you know what they say? You got 2 quarterbacks. Your next one's currently at Alabama.
Yep, probably. Yeah, that's good. But Jeff Driscoll has unlocked something in Amari Rodgers. Jeff Driscoll's unlocked something in Amari Rodgers. Jeff Driscoll's like Pete Davidson. Like, why didn't all the hot guys get Kate Beckinsale? Why couldn't Aaron Rodgers make it work? Well, no, Pete Davidson can make it work. Jeff Driscoll's the new Pete Davidson. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Diggs, late in this game, there was an interception on a Hail Mary. I just wanted to fill you guys in. And he was fighting for the ball. Him and his teammates were. No, it's really not.
On Twitter afterwards.
Where it gets selfish is tweeting.
No, well, the issue is this, because in an offensive meeting, they said, we know the defenders are supposed to knock the ball down in that situation. Knock the ball down, because if you try to catch it, it could be tipped. We have a guy who's standing in the up back position on every Hail Mary who's ready for that selfish DB to try to make a play, and it tips into their hands. We've seen it a million times on tape. We watch it every Saturday in prep for games before Sundays. And yeah, man, it's just like something doesn't sit right with me about not the tweet is the tweet, and they were probably talking shit. I
thought maybe it was an incentive thing, Kyle, but it's not, because he's a rookie and you can only get playtime incentives. So at first I was like, well, damn, he needs his money. I'm not saying he's selfish. I'm saying
competitive.
He's competitive, and sometimes when you're really competitive, it looks selfish, but you're not being selfish. You're just like, everybody's going to evaluate him based on how many picks he has.
Yeah.
They all used to evaluate us based on how many sacks we had. Yeah. I remember I split a sack, or I had a sack that James Laurinaitis probably easily could have said, turned it in and had half of it, and I paid him.
Yeah.
I was like, don't turn it in, bro.
Nice.
I was like, if you want to take this money. And so he didn't turn it in, because sacks don't make him money. Sacks make me money. Interceptions make him money. The only thing that's wrong with that play is that number 4 for the Texans is standing right there.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's the thing that you mentioned is how many times in defensive meetings do we hear knock it down? Well, you're not in our meetings. You can probably hear it through the fucking wall.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to
we're
end.
yelling it too.
It's a perfect way to end a shitty game. And I'm sure that's what was being talked about in the Dallas defensive room. Dan Quinn's like, guys, knock it down. I know you want the interception and everything. Dallas, last thing I'll say, sloppy game. Schultz dropped the pass in the end zone. Turpin muffed the punt. You know, they let Houston go 2 for 1, had an opportunity to go 2 for 1 before the half. They were bad down by the goal line one time. This was a bad game. They need to flush this and move forward. But I do think the Eagles are better than them, and I think it's evidenced by
I think it's no question
by what they did yesterday. Eagles. Brandon Graham had 3 sacks.
He's sipping on the fountain of youth.
He is,
there.
dude, and Hassan Reddick is now in double digits. First Eagle to have double digits in like 10 years.
He's got
Since
freaky
Connor
looking
Barwin.
sacks.
Connor Barwin.
Chris, he's got freaky looking sacks.
Yep.
Every sack he gets, it looks like a strange John Bones
Yep.
Jones knockout kick
Yep.
or like a
Yep.
it just looks
Great looking sack.
unorthodox.
Yeah.
And
The rushes, I mean.
and the first 1,000-yard receiver they've had since Jeremy Maclin. So the Eagles have done all this. We won a Super Bowl. We did all this with those things, and now they finally have them. It's kind of like, damn, they have like real.
Also,
Yeah.
the first 1,000-yard rusher since Shady in 2014 as well.
Hey, 13 football games. How many picks do you think Jalen Hurts has thrown?
2.
3.
Yeah. So
we split. We were
bad day for punters, though. Did you see the Australian style kick? The
You
Eagles?
like that? You like the
So
Australian.
funny to me, bro. The guy had hair like somebody. He looked like somebody. That punter looks like somebody who's like on the couch in Grandma's Boy.
Yes.
And then he just like runs out there.
They
and
wake
like,
him up to smoke the joint.
Yeah, they like punt the ball, and he's like, I only know Australian rules football. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna. I don't know that he dropped that. I think he had like because he used to do rugby, right?
And he's Scottish, for the record. He's a
Yeah.
Scottish hammer.
Scottish hammer.
It'd be like
That's what it is.
it'd be like going to Scotland and just I flubbed up. I did
Not
an
knowing how to play
American
golf.
custom.
He's had a rough few weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a bad
We don't
season.
need to talk about that game much more. The Eagles are fucking good. The Giants, the mask is coming off. And I said earlier this year, like the Giants are maybe the new Titans. Bad week for the Titans.
Yeah,
All the
and
Titans is.
I'll tell you how good the Eagles are. They're averaging 4.87 yards a carry. The defense is allowing 4.8 yards a pass.
And here's a
More
big
yards
one.
rushing than allowing passing.
And this is an amazing stat. The Giants came back in this game and were within striking distance to make this like a 1-score game late. It was like there was a time when the live line jumped to 21.5. Okay. And then the Giants closed it to win like 13 or something, had the ball, and the Eagles pulled away again. And I think that's really hard. Like in a football game, you can feel that tide coming to stem the tide and then flood it again, bro. Like, like for Giants, it was just like they were melting in
they
front
just
of our
keep
very
coming.
eyes.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, that's kind of what they showed earlier in the season, right?
Yep.
They had all season they've had the amazing second quarter, but they're weeks 3 through 8 they allowed teams to kind of get within striking distance and
Yep.
it would end a 7 or 10 within 7 or 10, and then the last couple of weeks we were like that's something they'll need to improve on into the playoffs, and they have.
And one more thing real quick on Dallas is that Terrence Steele got hurt, and JP had to go in and play right tackle for a while. And that's not really his thing. Like when
First
he was in
time
Philly,
at right tackle since 2005.
I never played him at right tackle in Philly, and he just wasn't there a lot. And, he's played guard a little bit for them. I don't know. Terrence Steele is a big part of their run game. Not that JP can't move bodies. Tony Pollard, did you see that jump cut? I know y'all didn't see
He's
the
a
game,
freak.
but that jump cut was incredible. This guy is, I mean, he gets the edge so fast.
They've got 2 identities with those 2 backs.
I like one more than the other.
But they have 2 identities, and sometimes you need to throw body blows before you can get the knockout punch in. And I've never been in a fight, so I couldn't tell you that. But I will say that it's 2 different schemes. And as a blocker, when you've got a guy like Pollard versus a guy like Elliott, your blocking style, the plays change. It's 2 different games you're playing inside.
Okay, go ahead.
The 3 NFC playoff matchups,
Yeah.
first weekend right now. Giants and Commies are glad that Seattle lost. It would be Giants at Vikings, Commanders at Niners, Cowboys at Buccaneers.
What a shitty
Vikings.
first.
Yeah, okay.
Look out, Vikings.
Yeah, look out, Cowboys. The Bucs are terrible, but look out, Cowboys. I just feel like that's a look out, Cowboys for some reason.
God, that would be so Dallas.
It would be so Dallas.
Anyways, the last NFC team we talked about real quick before. I want to mention the Bills game before we get into our one words, but Tampa Bay, San Francisco. And it's all about Brock Purdy, man.
Yeah.
It's all about Brock Purdy, man. Like,
so athletic
really
and creative. Like some guys look like they're a deer in the headlights under pressure, particularly early in their career at quarterback. But Brock Purdy goes out there and he looks like he's been practicing against the number one
Niners defense.
It looks like he's been practicing against the Niners defense his whole career.
Well, there's a couple things here. First off, isn't it amazing? And this is a testament to how hard it is to evaluate quarterbacks. You draft Trey Lance, like you give up. Ironically, this is the offense you don't need a quarterback. Any will do, right? But you give up 1 million picks to go get one. He's not really the guy. Like, we're not sure. It didn't look like the guy. And then you draft Brock Purdy literally last in the draft, and this kid looks like fucking Joe Montana at times out there. And and he's been on your roster all year long. When Trey Lance got hurt, there wasn't a single talk about Brock Purdy. Nobody talked about Brock Purdy. You know, usually you'll hear something from in the building. If they knew he was this good, they'd have played him.
Yeah.
But you just don't know. And that's the thing about, like, between the white lines, you just don't know what's going to happen. And last week I thought he played like he was a guest at somebody's house, right? Like he was like making sure everything was in order. Like, I don't want to break anything.
That's a great point.
Like, you know, like I'm going to turn the bathroom fan on, you know.
Spritz of the smell good.
The towel back, fold it perfectly. Yeah. This week he was like, feet up. This is my fucking house, man. He was taking shots. That throw to Christian McCaffrey off his back foot was swaggy, Kyle.
A lot of it was swaggy. And I mean, even the celebrations, you can see how much this team loves him. Every time he scores, they just hand him the football. They're like, take it back.
And he can run. And he can run, Kyle.
He can run. He's athletic. And, you know, I'm guilty of not watching him at Iowa State, but I should have watched him at Iowa State because he is a monster. These guys are so dangerous, and I'm thinking we talked about Jared Goff playing himself into not being in question for next year. Like Brock Purdy, dude.
Yeah,
I've seen it a game and a half.
He's got an opportunity. I'm pretty much sold. He's got an opportunity here down the stretch. But they could figure some things out about this kid. He might be playing well, huh?
Nick Mullins. People really like Nick Mullins there for.
I don't know. This feels like the stakes in these two games. You know, that was a big Dolphins game, right? And he had no time to get ready. And then this week, you know, that's a very good defense. And right off the bat, Neil, the first play of the game. Like, it was like Neil was like, I'm going to hurt this kid. Like, hey, I got a free run at this kid. Who else is playing quarterback for San Francisco today? And he took a big, deep breath, got up, and, you know, continued to be aggressive. The throw he made evading Shoyinka, am I saying his name right? Because he's a good player. I want to get this. JTS. That's what I'm going to call him. JTS. He's evading JTS. And he beats Debo on that boot. You know the boot play I'm talking about? He turns to fire, and JTS is in his face, and he evades him, and he's off one leg to Debo. You're just like, wow. Like, these are good throws. The touchdown deep in the red zone. I mean, he did throw the ball into triple coverage up 21-0, but he responded. The very next play was the shot to Ayuk with a face full of somebody. Pumps right before he gets hit, throws the ball to Ayuk. Like, this guy's exciting. Now, the Deebo Samuel injury is scary, but he's not out for the season. So, you know, you can get him back. This team is they just beat the doors off this Bucs team, who's not good, but this is the NFL.
They've outscored the 40s now. 49ers have now outscored the Bucs and the Dolphins 68-24.
So, a quick hollow man real quick. Tom Brady. For, you know, obviously the game and everything, but he bought 150 tickets at that stadium. It's a homecoming of sorts, right? Man. Bless you, Kyle.
I was a little choked up.
Bless you.
That's where he's from.
Tom Brady, he's from there. 150 tickets. Like one out of every 450 people in that stadium was a Tom Brady family member, and that's the performance. And then after the game, Dre Greenlaw is like, can you sign this? Intercepted football.
I want to talk about what do you think about that?
Is it a code break? I think it depends on how it. I would have sent it to him in the locker room.
Yes,
but I know Dre's not thinking about that. Dre's just like, fuck Tom Brady, man. Like, I picked him up. This is cool. The compliment is in the action, but it doesn't feel like a compliment after, you know, people aren't picking off Sam Darnold like, hey,
it could be soon though.
Yeah, pretty soon.
I
happened
don't
with
know.
the Jets too last year.
Hey, grandkids, let me cut on this old film of a football game in 2022 where I picked off the greatest quarterback.
No, I think it's great. But what I'm saying is how you solicit the autograph.
I know. I don't want his autograph on the ball.
Oh, you don't want it?
Yeah.
So that's my ball.
Oh, I do.
It was his.
I do. It's
Really?
cool. It's cool. Drake Greenlaw's had a couple good weeks too, by the way.
Really cool thing about football is that, like souvenirs that you get. First off, did you know that they rub it down with Delaware River mud? That's what they use.
That's interesting.
First off, Phil Simms told me that yesterday. And the
Delaware
other
River
thing
mud.
is you wouldn't need Tom Brady to
Suddenly don't
sign
believe
it.
it's true.
You wouldn't need Tom Brady to sign it because each team has their insignia on each ball. So if I'm on the Niners and I pick off a Buccaneers quarterback, it'll be a Buccaneers football. That I
Yeah, but
have.
think about what this is going
Which
for
is cool,
on
right?
eBay. Tom Brady autograph
right.
football.
You're right.
So, and another thing is Tom Brady has done everything with class this year. Somebody tell me something he's done that was, I mean, you
All
know.
Couple
the
assaults
yelling,
on Microsoft surfaces.
all the yelling.
No, he was even nice to the like yesterday, the way he slammed that surface was like, fuck. You know, like back in New England, it was like, fuck. And now it's like, fuck. Because he knows it's like, it's over, dude. Like, not his career, but we're on to New England.
The honeymoon phase in Tampa Bay is over.
We're on to New England.
I mean, dissolved his marriage. What about the kids?
what do you mean?
I mean, what were you saying? He's being classy.
Classy.
Yeah.
You're on Giselle's side? Okay.
I'm thinking about the kids.
Oh, flip this around. Yeah, flip this around. I'm married to a U.S. women's national player.
Okay.
U.S. women's national team player. Say Carly Lloyd's husband says, unless you retire from the thing that you love, I'm divorcing you. How would that go over, player? Riddle me that.
Slender
Whose
man.
fault is that?
Tom's just been yelling at everybody,
Okay.
man.
That's not an answer.
Tom
I
Brady's-
couldn't really follow the analogy. I need a second.
What is
coffee.
it?
I couldn't follow the
Essentially,
analogy.
What
just
analogy?
do a gender swap.
The Carly Lloyd thing.
I'm saying like everybody's on Tom. How is he the villain for continuing to work?
Yeah, I know. You just try to work it out, you know?
Okay. So Tom Brady's been all class.
Well, okay, then what about the yelling? All the yelling.
Guy's a yeller. Old yeller. That's what they
passionate.
call him.
Guy's a
Old yeller.
legitimately
That's a good name.
old yeller. Guys, Bills survived. They survived. And, like, I have that as the headline, but the headline to me is Mike White. Like, hey, the Bills beat a team that they were supposed to beat. They were favored by 10 points. They got a backup quarterback, right? That defense played great. They absolutely peppered Mike White. I mean, he was in Buddy Lee mode. He just kept getting up. It was incredible.
Leslie Frazier was pressing all the buttons in the elevator for sending guys at Mike White. It's
Yes.
like, without Von Miller, you don't just press the first floor like you usually do. It's like, oh, let's go 2 through 19.
Let's get
now.
exotic. But also, I think the D-line, Shaq Lawson, Rousseau,
Rousseau's great.
They took it personal. Like, and I don't mean that. Sometimes you hear all week, hey, it's this guy. It's just this guy.
Yes.
And, hey, Von Miller's out. What are we going to do now? They're not even going to be able to hit the quarterback. Like, they fucking tattooed this cat. Joe Flacco came in. He fumbled the ball. But Mike White, when he kept getting up, I just kept thinking to myself, boy, I hope this works out because he is perfect for Jets fans.
It was the classic boxing movie where the main character keeps getting knocked onto the fucking
That's
mat,
what it was.
and
I was looking for a boxing movie.
You're like, it's a boxing movie, right?
Yeah.
Cinderella
Yeah.
Man. It's like, how many times are you going to get
Exactly.
his fucking ass kicked?
Something like that.
And he just gets up, and the guys are like, "See, Mike White.
Yes.
The prophecy is true."
But honestly, like I worried about his health.
Yes,
Yeah.
He left in the second quarter
the
after
hospital.
after getting broken in half.
Matt
nearly.
Milano.
Yep, he came back 2 plays later. Then he was hitting the ribs again in the third quarter, and he left for X-rays. Returned at the start of the fourth quarter to finish the game. Immediately after the game, he was taken to the hospital for evaluation for internal injuries. He was past all that, and then flew home with the team.
Tough as shit.
Mike White, really tough.
I believe it.
I believe it. And also, like I know they've had trouble scoring, and that's the whole point. But watch the throws, man. Like he came back in and made some throws, and he was bleeding internally. So imagine if they have a run game a little bit. Bam's been great, but
Zonovan.
they're in the third, fourth running back this year. Brees Hall was on the field. The whole thing, like Garrett Wilson's playing great. The Quinn and Williams injuries look like a calf, I guess.
Calf sucks.
Calves are the worst. I had a calf for like a year and a half.
Would you rather have a calf or a turf toe?
Calf. Because turf toe
Can't do anything.
can't do anything. Yeah.
What about a back?
You have a back every day.
I got a back. I've had a back since I was.
I've got a back today.
Used to take BC powder before JV basketball games. I'm the king of having backs.
I remember BC powder.
Yeah.
Sketchy looking substance.
Yeah, I'd be at the water fountain just like BC powder down the gullet.
I played a little tennis yesterday. Got a back today.
You got a back today?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Didn't stretch.
We're all day today.
Spinal.
The truth is we're all day today. But Ed Oliver just killed him, and
Ed Oliver
Matt Milano
is
killed
a
him.
physical mismatch, Chris. For if you've never had to block anybody, when they're that low to the ground and they move that well laterally, and also they can bull rush. Like it's one thing if you're playing a guy who attacks edges, but Ed Oliver sets up the edges with the bull rush down the middle.
It's like blocking an odd job for you.
It's like I remember Geno Atkins was a guy that I used to play against from the Bengals, and he was a phenomenal rusher. He did it in the run game as well, but at rusher he would threaten you with his density, and then he would attack edges with his quickness. Ed Oliver has that sudden twitch,
and he's a shorter guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, like
And that's my point. Shorter guys are
Mosley,
hard to block.
Mosley, damn near like this was big. They were in this game with 0-0. We were headed to the first half in a few years that there was no scoring in the half. It was going to be 0-0. And the Bills, who were the best end of half teams from a scoring perspective, they opened the door for them with that Mosley offsides where he jumps over the center and tries to blow up a sneak or whatever it was. It was not a sneak.
Not going to be snapped.
The one thing I want you to weigh in here, 20-9, Saleh elects on 4th and 1 in low red to kick.
Well, yeah.
I like. Well, it was the red. It was the red. It was like the 15-yard line.
It was pink.
My problem with the red is because in the NFL, in NFL circles, we start the high red like a little higher than fans do.
At like the
Oh,
30.
you're right. You're right. It's 9-yard
25.
line. Yeah.
9-yard line. So that's the low red. So they're in the low red, and it's 20-9. And the question is, because you're going to need a touchdown and a field goal, you have timeouts. Are you kicking here and foregoing the opportunity because you're afraid of the chance of getting stuffed and then the game's over? Or are you thinking, as I would, hey, let's score while we're down here. We're going to be playing for a field goal if we get the ball back.
Score while you can.
That's what I would.
You score
Extend the
while you
game.
can because you never know what the next drive's going to hold for you.
Extend the game.
You're saying kick?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going
No,
for
I'm
it.
going for it because when
Going
you have
for
an
it.
opportunity and you're the lesser opponent, you
I'm
got to take the points when you can. You have to.
Yeah, me and you couldn't be on the same staff. I'd be with Dan Campbell.
Yeah. I'd be with Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
You'd be with
That's the way he
Brandon
thinks of
Staley.
himself, honestly.
You'd be with Brandon Staley.
Yeah. Well, and then they force Buffalo into a 3-and-out, so they get the ball back.
That's great. And what they do, they ran out of time.
Four plays, 0 yards.
But I mean, 4 plays, 0 yards. But think about this: your offense functions better if you know you got to get 25 yards. You know, like, hey, we got to put together 2-3 shots, to get to midfield, and then we can try to kick a field goal, like one more out. I just don't like having to drive the whole field when you haven't scored touchdowns all day.
Here's where I'm with you. It was 4th and 1 from the 9.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's baked into the question.
Yeah.
So it changes things for
It's
you now that
big.
you know the
I was watching live. I'm a big
4th and 1, but 4th and 1.
football
That
head.
offensive line was getting tattooed the whole day, though. I mean, you can't.
4th and 3, I agree with you. Maybe 4th and 4, I agree with you.
Even a long 2 is tough, but
long
when
2.
you're in that situation, you got to go.
You
No
had,
such thing
you
as
had
a
just
long
gone
2.
3rd and 1, an incomplete pass to Berrios. I'm an extend the game guy.
Okay. I was curious what you would
Yeah.
think. I know you're a headset guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week, Detroit at New York Jets. Who do you think's favored?
Detroit.
I think probably the Jets under a
'cause
field
it's an
goal.
away game.
Under a field goal, yeah.
Lions don't play well on the road.
Right. And I think the Jets will win.
By one, Jets by 1.5.
I think that's about right.
Jets by 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Jets by
Lions-
1.5.
Lions win the game.
Let's make the Lions, dude.
Yep.
Lions win the game.
I also think there's going to be a lot of action on the Lions.
Yeah.
I think that's where the money's going to be.
That's where my
Sadly.
money is.
My money might be on the JETS, Jets,
non-existent bets.
Jets.
Could be a pick 'em by Sunday.
I hope they tie, bro. I don't want either of these teams out of the playoffs. All right, Kyle, the one words, man. I put you on a couple of these games, Kyle. What are we starting with?
Man, I wish I could do more than one word because there was
We usually do.
There was,
What you can do is
there
you
was
can-
enjoyment. Kansas City and Denver, what I saw was concern. I'm concerned a little bit for Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City. Yeah, they put up a ton of points against a really good defense in the first half, But you watch the way that game ended, and Denver was able to scratch and claw their way back into it in large part because of 3 interceptions. First interception, he leaked it, left a little bit, probably shouldn't have thrown the ball. There was a Travis Kelce intended target that got intercepted that was in front of him. Kelce could have sat down in the zone behind it. That's usually not an issue they have. Kelce usually sits down where he's supposed to, and Pat puts it on him. The other was to Sky Moore. Another one where Sky Moore kept running through the zone. He's got to sit down a little bit. It's not as much concern for Patrick Mahomes, but the synergy that we're feeling there. Yeah. I give a tremendous amount of credit to the offensive line. Andy Heck's group showed up in the second half and took care of business. Pacheco ran the ball well the whole game. And the screen game, that should be the word, screen game, because Andy Reid, one thing that he really loves coaching, and he stands up during the meeting to coach this portion of the offense, it's the screens. And you look at the way they're able to get out of trouble when they need 6 to 7 yards. They can go to Jerick McKinnon, who had a huge day, over 100 yards, over like 140, something like that. Those are explosive plays, their screen game, and they run them very well. And the other game that I was watching was the Cleveland-Cincinnati game. Outside the numbers. That is my phrase because
that's a good word.
One phrase.
Because Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase outside the numbers. It's 31 flavors of that. How can we get number one the football when the chips were down from a roster standpoint? You look at T. Higgins out, Boyd out, but Jamar Chase is still in. You still got a shot. The offensive line, also another group that took over the game in the second half with the running game. Love to see that from Cincinnati. My God, that defense played with their fucking hair on fire. Sam Hubbard was great with rush lane integrity, keeping Deshaun under control when he was trying to run. He was stacking the tackles as opposed to trying to win to one side, giving Deshaun an out. Saw that the whole day. DJ Reader, huge. Mike Hilton, big. Jesse Bates, big plays, time and time again. But really, the identity of this team is they play very hard and physical on defense, and they can throw to Jamar Chase at any given fucking time. Credit to those guys.
You know, Kyle, that was a good job. The Deshaun Watson stuff, and by the stuff, I mean he's not very good at football right now.
He looked a lot. I will say this.
He looked better than last week.
He got better. It was a tale of two halves with Deshaun Watson.
You got to hope this is rust.
He looked to be more confident.
A Browns fan. If you're a Browns fan, why? But if you are still a Browns fan, you got to hope this is rust. We kind of hit Baltimore, Pittsburgh. I mean, hey, listen.
That's right.
But my word is bad, as in Mitch Trubisky is bad. Respectfully, that was awful. I mean, that's awful. I thought when the backup comes in, then we're supposed to be on our P's and Q's. Everybody's
That's what I
solid.
thought too. And they moved the ball pretty well with him in the game, but then they didn't.
Yeah, then they didn't. Hey, what was he? 22 of 30. But when you account for the 3 picks, 25 of 30. Ball's not hitting the ground with Mitch Trubisky.
Not a lot.
Yeah. So that's not so bad.
Running clock. It's good for viewing experience. I listen, the game sucked.
Oh, it sucked.
Okay. You know, those games used to be more fun. Like, you were like, oh, yeah, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they're going to kill each other in prime time out here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like, now it's kind of like, oh, they're going to not score a lot. You know?
TJ Watt's like, I got to deal with 3 tight ends and a running back chipping every fucking play.
Yep.
The game's no fun to play in.
So Seahawks, Panthers, we've kind of hit that. I mean, you know, big win for the Panthers, and Sam Darnold actually played pretty well. It's fun to watch him.
And we had an interesting viewing of that game.
So this is my thing. I don't know if you guys, Reed and Matt were with me. I don't know if you watched this game.
Yeah, I did.
I watched the game and I was like, at first it came on, I was like, I don't know if I like. Within 5 minutes, I had it as my Bevel Conway.
Dude.
Yes, it's my Bevel Conway.
Cool colors.
Sneaky.
Because it's like the first and 10 graphic matches the teal on the Panthers uniform. The Panthers uniforms could be so much better.
Yes.
You know, Seahawks uniforms, in my opinion, can sometimes be better. But the grayscale, that just the whole field was gray. The sky's gray. The field's gray. The field turf looks like concrete. It's the teal. It's the blue. It's the classic one that I was like, man, you remember in The Office when they were talking about Hillary Swank?
Yeah.
The Office, the TV show, yes. Yeah.
That's what The Office, the TV show. Yeah. That's what you had to go back through your database. But they were like trying to decide if Hillary Swank was hot. Hillary Swank is hot. Mm-hmm. This field is hot.
And a good fighter.
Until she wasn't.
Until she's not.
But thankfully that was just a fictional character, Kyle. She's still with us. You know, I smoked a damn strain called $1 Million Baby, and there was a moment where I was like, "Oh, I get it now."
I die now.
No, I just stare at I stare at Clint Eastwood or whoever.
Puts you comatose.
Yeah, basically. I was like, damn, that's kind of a fucked up name of a strain. But anyways, this is the classic. It's like in The Office where they're trying to decide if Hillary Swank's hot. Like it took me 4 minutes to decide that this field was beautiful to look at. These two, it was like the Riptide Rush version of a football game. It was like
a
all
Major
the
League Lacrosse matchup.
No, it was like the alternate colorway of like it was like all the cool blues and the little shades of gray and it was like all those Gatorades.
The Arctic series of Gatorades.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I was
what blue
obsessed
do
with
we
that
call
game.
the Carolina Panthers blue?
Carolina
Teal.
blue.
No, it's not Carolina blue. It's
But
teal.
it's the Carolinas blue though.
Teal?
I know. Yeah, it's teal.
Is it teal? I think it's actually literally called Carolina blue, but I'm with you. It's not Carolina.
It's
blue.
not Carolina blue. Carolina blue.
Isn't that teal?
Bro, I'm just telling
guys
you
are-
what reality
You guys
is.
are thinking about Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers. They have teal.
So did the Panthers. It's literally the same.
Chanticleers.
It's the same color blue. Look at that.
All I'm saying is the black, white, silver, whatever this blue is making a bad uniform. The helmet stripes that diverge are awful. The
Yeah.
shoulder stripes are bad. The small numbers on the shoulder are bad.
Yeah.
But it works because of the colors.
Yeah.
Did you guys create
That's why I was a
uniforms?
Panthers fan when I was a kid.
When you guys played Madden, do you create your own uniforms?
I got to create our own uniforms for our AAU baseball team, bro.
The Hilltoppers. I
Yeah, and
remember
guess
that.
what color they were?
Carolina blue.
They were teal
Sky
or
blue.
Carolina blue. It was they were more Carolina blue.
I'm sticking to my guns here.
Do you see what brought up when I said teal though? I don't, and I say this so respectfully.
No, I don't.
I'm
I mean,
not sure if you know
I
what
can't
teal
feel.
is.
I do know what teal is.
Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, I think.
teal.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, yeah, Coastal Carolina is more that color,
Okay.
but they're not Carolina blue.
See, like that's more
Carolina blue is powder blue.
right.
That Carolina is. It does not show
you're
up as.
thinking about Tar Heel blue.
Oh Jesus Christ!
No,
Why
no,
don't
no,
you
I
guys go
follow
work
you.
for
You're
Benjamin
right.
Moore?
You're right. I really don't know what that color is. It's like
I know who Benjamin Moore is.
But it's not Carolina blue.
correct.
Okay, agree. Kyle, yeah, he's over there tripping.
Fuck off. The both of you.
Are you looking? I mean, that's
I don't have to look. I look inwardly when I think about
Well, why don't you
colors.
look inwardly and give us some mentions here, guys?
Oh, I got some mentions here. I got them written down right
Miller-like
here on this
mentions.
Carolina white piece of paper.
one word for Seahawks Panthers. Sure, playoffs.
Playoffs?
Panthers got home Steelers, home Lions, at Bucks, at Saints. That's doable.
They're gonna win these games.
You guys are big look ahead guys.
Miller Lite mentions. Yeah, love just
part of the
reciting
biz.
the
I hate
schedule.
looking ahead. That's why I don't plan.
People kill so much time looking ahead in this business.
So I've got a worst flight, best flight. Should we start
Read
there?
the schedule. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right.
Hell
So
yeah.
my worst flight is anything leaving the state of California.
It's bad.
Fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Dolphins, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's all trash.
Oh, you forgot my worst flight here. The Raiders.
Trash.
That flight might be short, but that is hell on earth leaving that stadium after Baker Mayfield goes 98 yards.
Anything leaving California.
He's been
this
in the
week.
building for 36 hours. 36 hours.
36 hours. Blacked out. Went out and just blacked out.
Yep.
My best flight is Carolina back from Seattle. It's got to be, right? You're starting to
It's a long one.
starting to garner some respect though, but you know the feeling of being on a plane after a huge win. It's a time capsule. You're a wrinkle in time. Mm-hmm. You're up there, and it's honestly like a core memory for me. Some of the big wins, we didn't have a lot of them, but big wins, long flights, particularly coming from the West Coast, feels really good, man, to celebrate with your team.
It does feel good.
And
Just
to get there, and it's like this moment isn't going to last forever. So
drinking
make the most of
O'Doul's.
it. Watching it on the iPad,
Playing board games.
six guys in the aisle, leaned
Yeah.
over one seat, watching on the iPad. That's what I remember.
Non-alcoholic beer.
There's a 13-year stretch for Virginia football where there were 4 happy plane rides in 13 years.
Incredible.
Yeah. One other games, but they were bus rides.
And you had to deal with those.
Yeah. But to Kyle's point, you do remember the happy ones.
Yeah, you remember the happy ones, bro.
Yeah.
I would say best plane ride, Jags. It's a team that I know Doug's having fun. Doug's a big, like, walk back to the back of the plane, lean on your chair, and be like, how we doing, guys? And, like, in a good way, not annoying.
And we made fun of Trevor Lawrence. We gave them the worst flight a couple months ago,
Yeah.
early in the season. And I said, what is Goldilocks doing? But Goldilocks, he's coming around.
He was flying Spirit Airlines, and now he's on
He might be flying the damn plane.
Emirates. Got a little fucking bed. Go ahead.
My best is Kansas City.
Yeah.
Short flight.
Short.
Tied,
only go down.
only go down.
He loves that.
Tied for
It's just
first place.
Tulane.
Tied for first place in the AFC with Buffalo. All right.
It's Tulane.
The alternative would have been a 3-way tie with Cincy and Baltimore at 9-4. At Houston's next, because of this little scare from the Broncos, you probably won't underestimate Houston, especially what they did in Dallas. Followed by 2 games in a row at home. My worst is going to be Tampa Bay as well. You can still fire the coach, yeah. You're in first place in the division. You need something. It's not going to come from personnel unless you do something on the sidelines.
Fire the coach.
I think
in
the
first
coach.
place.
I think the coach is bad.
Is that
and I think you
unprecedented?
fire the coach
Firing a coach in first place.
in December, probably.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
you've
like,
got-
that's
you've
like
got-
what the Bears did to Lovie Smith.
You get 6 days till
Way back
Hanukkah.
when.
It gets kind of insensitive to fire people
I'd
during
do
the
it. I'd
holidays.
Do
Do
it,
it
today.
right now.
I'd do it today.
If you're
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Right
Your
before they
worst
start burning
flight?
that candle.
There's a lot of candles, Kyle.
One candle, 8 days.
I think there are 8 candles.
There's 8 candles, Kyle.
To
That's a good question. Is it 1 candle or is it 8
Because-
candles on 1 candle
Because
holder?
the real
It's 8
miracle.
It's 8 candles, yes.
The real
need
miracle
to
is
look
that
it
is that
I was trying to give him some-
the candle lasted 8 days. I know that. You
Yeah,
know, and they make fun
yeah.
of Christianity because they're like, you guys have a superhero as
yeah.
your leader.
Yeah, we got a candle.
We got
it's
candles.
like, yeah. Well, Todd Bowles has the job for another.
8 days.
Well, no, he's.
I actually think the menorah has 9 candles. I think there's one in the middle. And
So
4
I'm
on the
talking
side.
about the one middle.
9.
Yeah, you're thinking about the middle candle.
The big candle.
So I would fire the middle candle, Todd Bowles, and promote one of the
One of
exterior
the other
candles.
eight
It would
candles.
give
Head
more
coach.
oxygen to the smaller
Exactly.
candles.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I like this, guys.
Tom Bradle's. Tom
Bradle.
He's, Tom Bradle. He's spinning. He's spinning right now. His head's
Spin the
spinning. He's-
Bradle.
Yeah.
Bradle,
Tom Bradle.
I made
Bradle.
you out of clay.
No, you only got a couple. I love latkes since we're here.
They're great.
Yeah.
Amazing
I love
food.
latkes.
Yeah.
You
I
need
would
good
imagine
sour
the
cream.
Schwartz
on it.
brothers make a mean latke.
Yes.
Yeah.
What if I just show up to their house for Hanukkah?
Jeff,
And I'm like,
L'chaim.
guys, I'm here. I want to see what it's all about. You got to welcome me and shit like that. Okay, we've been on Hanukkah a while. Well, I respect any religion that they're like, we're not doing a holiday in one day. We're going to stretch this bad boy out. Multiple presents. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, fly on the wall. Fly on the wall.
I got to fly on the wall.
Sure.
I would love, because, now that Brock Purdy's been in for a week and a half with the Niners, I would have loved to have been passenger seat in his truck or car, whatever, when he got in, after the game last night. He gets in his car and he can finally take a deep breath. There's no cameras on him. Nobody's hounding him. Who's what's his first call? What's that like? Does he call his buddy? And did you just fucking see that? That's my fly on the wall. I'd love to be hanging out with Brock Purdy after the come down.
I would go to see Chris in St. Louis, and
Sorry.
no, they always won. They really did. They really did.
Huh.
But we rode home one game, and we just put the windows down, and there was Born in the USA cranking.
Was there?
Yeah, and driving pretty fast.
Yeah.
and it was just fun.
Yeah.
A little Victory Monday.
Driving
There's
past
nothing
that
like a victory
Budweiser, big Budweiser sign
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah,
Whether you're in a
And
car
then-
or a plane, it's like.
and then you said we're gonna go to a place called Pepper.
Pepper Lounge.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep.
I hope Brock Purdy has a Pepper Lounge.
Hey, I'll join you to a degree. Fly on the wall, getting Baker up to speed in 48 hours. I really want to know if the terminology is legitimately that difficult, or if it's like, hey, this is what you called it there. This is what we call it here.
That's exactly what it is.
Say whatever the hell you
You
want.
would say, this route, do you see it on the board? What did you guys call that?
Right.
Well, this is what we call it. Or, yeah, we call it the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then they go to hurry up offense to go spike the ball, and their center and the quarterback, they don't even know the snap count to get it out.
Yeah.
And the center's got to turn around and tell them. So it's like that stuff gets glossed over during the week.
Yeah.
But the concepts are there.
Mm-hmm.
Fly on the wall.
And
Damn.
it's the same offensive line language that he had in Cleveland, so that made the
He
transition
knows
a
how the
little
blitzes
easier.
are getting picked up.
I'd love to know what Dan Campbell's thinking about Jared Goff. I'd love to know that.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they want to do there.
Yeah.
They want to know what they want to do there. They know.
Dan knows.
Let me give you one more. The conversation, because in the post game it sounded like you didn't like it. The conversation about giving Baker the number 17, because there are a lot of single digit numbers available in LA, including number 6, and somebody gave him grief about 17. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about this."
Who?
Like
McVay did?
No. Baker was like,
Can't change it.
I don't like
Oh, yeah.
17.
Well, it doesn't look good.
Can't
Doesn't look
change
good.
it.
That's just not a good uniform on Baker. But
There's a question: can you change it?
Can't change it.
Want to know?
Too
Can you
late.
change it?
No, yeah,
late.
yeah, you got to stick with it.
Yeah, stick with 17.
Next year, you could, if you're back, you could do the.
I mean, they're not going to do anything. Nobody would probably notice if he slips on.
I wonder if
6.
Baker's going to be there next year.
Well, you got a month to prove
It's
it.
not like they scored a lot of points. It was the Raiders.
It's true.
Not like he has anybody to throw to either. What's
like-
next? Anything else? Oh,
Still use
hold on.
some other Bevel Conways from those of you that haven't.
Yeah,
gotten
I have
it.
a Bevel Conway. Mine's going to be the Tampa Bay and San Francisco game because there's different shades of red, 50 shades of red. I'm getting down with that San Francisco uniform.
Yeah.
it's taking you a while.
Took me a while.
The pewter
I'm
is
growing
terrible,
up.
though.
I'm growing up, I think.
Pewter's awful. One of the worst colors.
I'm going. You gave yours, yeah. Panther Seahawks.
Yeah.
I'm going to Army Black Knights now. Are we calling it splatter or spatter? Blood is spatter, but pain is splatter.
Speckled,
Yeah, splatter.
Speckled?
Splatter.
So that's
not
a risk.
spangled.
That's a risk. It's
Blue stars.
It's that's a risk. That's risky. Hear what I'm saying? Hear the words?
Mm-hmm.
Smell what I'm stepping in?
Yeah, yeah.
Everything else was beautiful, especially the number font. Those are the prettiest numbers I've ever seen. I was on Fanatics looking at Army gear after that game.
I bid on a helmet at
NASA
Warrior
helmet?
Rising. No, I got an Army helmet
I
for
want
the
the NASA
studio.
one.
I got
Hey.
an Army helmet. It's got the big. It's got a Black Knight with a fucking. He's jousting. And there's a big horse. Sick on the helmet. It's like airbrushed. We'll have it here in
Kind
the
of looks
studio.
like a UCF
Yeah, but like if UCF.
was on the juice.
Hey guys, you all can't get this because I'm gonna get it, and I know I'm not a big USA guy, but I'm gonna wear like this sweatshirt.
That's stolen valor.
That's a beautiful sweatshirt.
Look at it in black. Look at that.
That's a beautiful sweatshirt. Do you know
Are you
that?
trying to get thank you for your services at Bodo's or
No, not really. I just think it's-
you're going to cut the America off that? There's no A? Remember they got mad at the soccer coach? He was like the subject of a Fox News article because he said that Nike had a line that said the States.
right.
Guy hated America.
I'm just gonna take the little dots out of that in the U.S. and it's gonna say us because I'm a big us guy.
No question. Yes,
I'm
you are.
not a me.
Yes, you are.
I'm an us.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a we. Yep.
So Macon gave his game ball to Jared Goff. Who you guys got?
I'm going to give my game ball to Evan Ingram and read what were the stats there for Evan Ingram because he went off.
11, 162, 2 touchdowns, and 42.
Hates Evan Ingram.
47 yards over expected.
He
I
hates
mean,
Evan Ingram. Kyle's looking at me like,
Evan
how
In-
could you?
Evan Ingram, he's found his forever home. Trevor Lawrence,
Forever home.
he's awesome.
However many yards you just said, that's probably more than he's received in his entire career. Guy can't catch a cold, but he had a great game. Great game.
Game ball.
I'll give it to Justin Herbert. Boring, chalky, but that really was like this was a take machine. This is like this. There was so much pressure on him last night to perform. He knows he's better, but everybody's hurt.
Yeah.
You're the Chargers.
People are telling you got the wrong coach. Just wait till they bring your guy in.
He played great.
Yeah.
He played great.
St. Louis Memorial Frank Gore Award, balling in obscurity. Jerry Jeudy. There you go, Cowboy. 8 for 73 and 3
Hat
tutties.
trick.
3 tutties. As
Damn,
Strong
I
We
gotta-
goes
won't
flying back
mention
in.
the interaction he had with the referee. The ref knew he was at fault. That's why there wasn't an ejection.
That's
call.
exactly
I want to give it to the Petrie guy
Yeah.
down there in Houston.
Jalen,
That guy
yep.
was all over the damn place.
I'm going to give my St. Louis Memorial Award to DJ Reader in the middle of that Cincinnati Bengals defense. Good game, DJ.
Sweet.
And Macon, you're right. 162 is by far the most receiving yards Evan Ingram. His third career 100-yard receiving game.
Yeah, I was trying to say like more than what he had combined. I was just trying to be mean and hyperbolic. Look, Evan Ingram has that in him. He could be excellent. He just wasn't in New York. I hope he continues to be in Jacksonville. And by continue, I mean this game and moving forward. So there wasn't anything before this game either.
Gentlemen,
That was good.
Start your engines. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.